beautiful family. Before I get started, please check out the t-shirts in our t-shirt shop. This is called the Lion of Jah, and it was designed by the boys at Angel's Gate. Every t-shirt we sell goes towards helping our family out in Tanzania, which is now nearing 170 children, would you believe? So every little helps. If you're planning to buy a new t-shirt, check out our shop. I want to make only a short one, and it will be short. And it's about the true power of a human being. You know, our true power is that of a state of creation. That is heaven. When we are in a state of creation is heaven. When we are in hell, we are in a state of fight, flight, survival. And it's unfortunate because we do need the two, but we can use our fight to create the protective coating in life for our creative capacity to be the number one priority. And this is the way the world is built. And I once used to get into this very negative mind space, apocalyptic mindset, that it was the end of the world, and I would watch world events and every single news story felt like this is it, this is the end of the world, this is, you know, it really was very intense state of mind. It was an intense thought pattern to move into, so I have empathy for anyone in that state. But what I acknowledge looking back, the reason I would enter there is that I knew deep down I was disempowered, but I wasn't aware where and how I was disempowered. And the reality is, the most powerful a human is as a conscious co-creator. Now, if you look at the dollar bill, has a pyramid with a capstone, and if you draw a pentagram on there, it spells the word Mason. So the Masons, epically powerful society, and had an unbelievable amount of influence in the creation of our current civilization. They set off with good intentions to do that, but as with anything, there's a whole spectrum from light and dark of behaviors that can come through a human being. They can be manipulated spiritually, it can come from the psyche, it can come from our primitive nature. And so on that journey of trying to build a better world, corruption comes in, because the very vehicle of the world, the very vehicle that's trying to build that is in itself corrupt. And so this is not a new idea, this is an old teaching, it's exactly what Christ said. But here's what people don't see, is the most powerful state is creation. That's the capstone with the all-seeing eye. So those guys who are now privileged enough to be in the capstone part of society, they are creating the world beneath them. That's what they are doing. They are a creative force. But because they are rooted in creation, and they're trying to create for people that they have no relation to, then we've ended up with this very separated leadership who might be creating, might have once wanted to create a better world, but by now they don't know what the bottom of the pyramid are doing, and they have no intention of going there, because they want to protect their cocoon from which they are manifesting from. And so when you grasp that and you see that the all-seeing capstone is the state of creation, that means that anyone underneath in here, if you respond to that state of creation with fight or flight, the game's rigged. You can't win. You can't win that because you're under this. You're under this umbrella. What you have to do is peek out of the veil and say, okay, so this here can be influenced by me, but not from within it. I have to enter my own capstone of creation so I can influence the direction of the lower aspects that are not yet realizing our full power. And this is what's happening. It's about we as a species collectively in consciousness, some of us accessing a higher space and trying to tell those who are not accessing it that they should. We see people who are criminals, murderers, rapists, and we are societally telling them, don't do this. This is a very primitive state of consciousness, enter a higher space. And this is exactly the reflection of people who have moved out from there into their own capstone of creation. And they didn't have to be rich. I was not rich, and I moved into my own creative power. And when I moved into my own creative power as a man, then I was drawing on the infinite. And so events would align, people would appear, the right person would open the right door at the right time. And I didn't need money. What I needed was that creative force to be nourished and driven into the world. And this is the powerfulest state of a human being. And this, just quickly, is what the Freemasons kind of said all along. That once over, there was a big strong guy maybe who could beat you around and thus would have control to some degree, but eventually people got together in community and said, this behavior is not acceptable, you're hurting one another, etc. Your aggression is not okay for us, and they even get ousted from the tribe. Or those people build walls, and so your physical prowess now means nothing in that circumstance, and things start to rebalance because you've got some guy who probably can't win the fight, but he knows, he sussed out how to build a wall, so when the big guy comes, what can he do if he can't knock down the wall? He's at the mercy of whatever he throws down at him. And so it changes the balance of what's going on inside the human journey, because the first behind the walls is the first to start finding their connection to conscious co-creation. And this is what we need to aim for our own enrichment and nourishment and fulfillment, and also our own sense of trust and faith and security that it's not the apocalypse right now. It's not. It's just the balancing act of the human story and the human journey trying to find its way. And there is things in there that you would deem wrong and things you'll deem good, but it's still that balancing act. And until we find a level, then right now, because it's been tipped to the point where these persons are so separated from here, it's up to those who wake up in here that this is not acceptable to step out and find their own creation capstone state, find their own rooting in surrender, find their own rooting and admitting they're not educated enough, intelligent enough, etc. to work this problem out on their own. And in that state of surrender, it's where the presence comes. And when the presence comes and starts to guide your life, then you are rooted in that peaceful, still state of creation. And you find yourself working on that state, because you see the more you stay rooted in that stillness, in that state of creation, in that capstone of creation, the more poignant and powerful your manifestations become. And so this is the truly empowered human dwells in the heavens, in the higher energy, in their own capstone of creation. And I know it's not that simple for some, because many are in here dependent on what's going on in there. But you can make space in there. You can make space in there to find your sovereign power as a conscious co-creator. And to do that, you have to surrender. And to surrender is no different to be born again, as Christ said. Be born again as a powerful creator of the world around you. And then you can create happiness and love and joy for yourself, your family, friends, even people that you've never met before. Because you're pooling into a resource which has infinite amounts of happiness and joy to give you, to bring to others who are disconnected from it. And once they see you rooted there, they'll start wanting to join you there, and then we'll all start pouring this in. What a world it would be. What a world it would be if everybody knew to empower their children as a creator. God bless, guys. Bye.
Naitwa Viki. Umechoka? Wewe mpasa. Pole, unaitwa nani?
Shamimu.
Shamimu, pole.